Welcome to today's Brand Origin Deep Dive, where we pull back the digital curtain on the forces that shape the world we interact with daily. You've heard of the product, but do you know the hidden currents, the forgotten projects, and the profound sacrifices that truly fueled its global dominance? This isn't just about the slick marketing. It's about the echoes of decisions made in dust-filled rooms. If you find value in this kind of storytelling, consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps more than you know, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Let's dive in and discover how it all began. You find yourself in a space that time seems to have forgotten. Dust motes dance in the single shaft of light, slicing through the gloom of a corporate archive. Air thick with the scent of decaying paper and dormant technology. This isn't the polished, gleaming image you know. This is the neglected underbelly. You're here to uncover the truth behind something ubiquitous, something that reshaped the world of sound. It's not just about how iTunes dominated. It's about the real reason, the hidden current beneath the sleek surface. Your fingers trail over forgotten storage units, searching for a specific box, labeled simply Project Frequency. This is where the echoes begin. Brand historians still debate whether this project was a competitor's failed dream or an internal misstep. But a forgotten prototype sits nestled within, cold to the touch. It hums faintly, a sound almost imperceptible, a symbolic motif introduced here, a low, persistent hum that seems to emanate from the digital silence itself. You feel a presence, not of people, but of decisions made in sterile rooms, of passions lost in code. This space establishes the core mystery. What darkness or profound sacrifice truly fueled this digital revolution, lurking beneath the clean interface and bright marketing? It foreshadows the human cost and internal conflicts to come. The first major historical milestone being this shift from physical artifacts to unseen digital files. The quirky, lesser-known detail is the existence of this specific humming prototype, Project Frequency, a ghost in the machine. You delve deeper into the archive, and the neat stacks of physical media fade, replaced by a chaotic sprawl of paper and forgotten prototypes. The industry is reeling. File sharing isn't just a nuisance. It's an existential threat, a major turning point where control over distribution is simply dissolving. You uncover frantic internal memos detailing plummeting sales, desperate brainstorming sessions, and blueprints for clunky, forgotten MP3 players that look like something designed in a garage using spare parts. And the brand? They're paralyzed. Protecting their jewel cases and vinyl presses feels paramount, their entire identity rooted in physical dominance. This isn't just a business problem. It's a deep identity crisis born from staring into an uncertain digital future. You find notes scribbled on whiteboard photos detailing bizarre, fragmented attempts to grapple with this new world. Concepts that feel almost comical now, like trying to put a square peg in a digital-shaped hole. The static sound from an old archive radio unit seems to hum with the tension captured in meeting transcripts. You witness the rapid emotional swing, from cautious, almost naive optimism about interactive media to sheer "we're doomed" panic as file sharing explodes, and finally, a weary, grudging acceptance that things must change. The low, symbolic hum you felt earlier is now layered with the crackle and compression noise of early digital files, a tangible loss of fidelity and the satisfying heft of a physical album. Brand historians still debate whether this initial hesitation was a fatal misstep or a necessary, cautious pause. This wasn't just about tech evolution, it was a brutal fight for control, hinting at the tightly managed digital ecosystems that would define the future. The scene shifts dramatically now, moving into the intense, secretive labs where the iPod and iTunes are taking shape. This isn't the glossy marketing story. You witness the relentless drive towards simplification, often brutal in its execution. The brand core solidifies around a stark, almost ascetic design philosophy, the deliberate act of stripping away every non-essential option, the insistence on a singular, tightly controlled interface. You feel the smooth, cool touch of early plastic prototypes, a tactile promise of simplicity, contrasting with the often frustrating reality of development. Ideas are discarded daily, suggestions from experienced engineers are ignored, and you see the forced compromises made under immense pressure. A major turning point arrives with the launch of the iTunes Music Store alongside the iPod, not just as a product, but as a tightly integrated system. Analysts continue to question the reasoning behind some of the initial restrictions, like the limited file support, seeing them less as innovation and more as calculated control. You trace the story of a sound engineer, perhaps, whose passion for intricate audio processing was deemed too complex for the simple interface. Their vision sacrificed on the altar of commercial simplicity. The click wheel's rhythmic sound becomes almost hypnotic, a motif of this new, controlled interaction. But the true magic beginning to emerge isn't just ease of use. It's the seamless, almost invisible lock-in being built brick by white, sterile brick. The hidden cost lurking beneath the veneer of convenience. Building on what came before, you now witness the empire truly solidifying. This isn't just about buying songs anymore. iTunes evolves, transforms into something far larger. It becomes the invisible ecosystem, encompassing apps, podcasts, and video. A vast digital continent where everything connects, or rather, must connect, within its borders. This is the peak of the walled garden, the moment the brand shifts from being a product you use to a controlling infrastructure you live within. For artists, labels, and competitors, operating here brings new realities. Terms can feel restrictive, and you hear whispers of unexpected algorithmic biases, stories of careers suddenly soaring on a featured list, or getting lost in the grid's visual sameness. Scrolling feels repetitive, the familiar ding of a purchase notification, the constant background hum, while the actual digital download feels sterile, silent, lacking the tactile presence of physical media. The emotional landscape shifts. The company's power grows, becoming an abstract, less visible force, while you, the user, feel increasingly isolated, reliant. Analysts continue to question the reasoning behind some of the most stringent requirements for developers and content creators entering this space. Was it purely about quality control, or maximizing user retention through proprietary formats? Some argue strategies detailed in a rumored leaked memo confirm the latter. The hum and click are no longer just sounds. They are the background noise of constant, invisible activity, of data flowing and being controlled. Yet, internally, the system is becoming too big, too unwieldy. The sheer scale of its success contains the seeds of its future disruption. As the digital landscape continued its rapid evolution, the once unshakable iTunes empire faces its reckoning. You witness the inexorable rise of streaming services, a seismic shift that challenges the very foundation of ownership that iTunes was built upon. Inside the company, there's palpable resistance, a reluctance to dismantle the colossus, a struggle against cannibalizing a wildly profitable model. The process becomes one of deconstruction, a complex, painful surgery to break apart the rigid monolith. You see the brand forced into evolution, a clumsy dance to adapt to a world it helped create but no longer dictates. This leads to the dramatic fracturing. iTunes is segmented, split into separate, more focused entities, like Apple Music, Apple TV, and Apple Podcasts. It feels disorienting, like needing 3 keys for one house. Brand historians still debate whether this breakup came too late, or if the internal structure simply couldn't pivot fast enough. You uncover memos detailing failed attempts to launch competing streaming tiers years prior, proposals dismissed as too radical at the time. A quirky, sad footnote to what might have been. The steady, reassuring hum of the centralized library begins to falter, becoming erratic, a fragmented signal across disparate apps, mirroring the fractured identity itself. The empire didn't collapse overnight, but rather dissolved, searching for relevance in a digital ocean it once commanded, foreshadowing the complex, often confusing state of media consumption today. You step away from the archive, the dust settling behind you, but the low hum, the symbolic motif of control, still resonates in your ears. The story of this brand, once synonymous with digital music, isn't a simple Silicon Valley success tale. It's a complex narrative, weaving together threads of audacious vision and rigid control, groundbreaking innovation, and often unseen loss. You reflect on the real reason it took over the market so swiftly. Perhaps it wasn't merely superior technology, though that was crucial, but the strategic imposition of a new kind of digital order on the chaotic early days of online media. It offered a clean, white canvas that, while revolutionary, perhaps concealed the messy, human cost of that digital transition. It undeniably created convenience for millions, but in doing so, fostered a deep dependency on its ecosystem. It democratized access to vast libraries of music, but simultaneously centralized immense power in one company's hands. The forgotten designers whose concepts didn't make the cut, the struggling independent artists who navigated its rules, the discarded prototypes gathering dust in a lab. Their stories are the subtle, often unheard static beneath the brand's polished signal. Analysts continue to question the reasoning behind some of its most restrictive policies, debates that echo even today. You consider its profound cultural impact, the instantly recognizable white earbuds becoming a silent uniform of a generation. The satisfying click wheel, now a tactile memory in a world dominated by touchscreens. The very act of owning music gradually being replaced by the fluid, less tangible flow of streaming. What does its subsequent transformation into multiple distinct services truly mean? Is it a genuine breaking free from the walled garden it built, or simply a restructuring of the same underlying mechanisms of control, just spread across different digital plots? The archive stands, a monument to a moment when one brand fundamentally defined how we listened, how we consumed, how we felt about digital sound. The final note isn't a triumphant concluding chord, but a lingering, ambiguous frequency, a quiet reminder that even in apparent silence or dispersal, the echoes of control persist, subtly shaping the way we interact with the digital world. One click, one download, one stream at a time. The story of its rise and transformation ends here, but the fundamental questions about power, culture, and the digital soul remain, humming softly in the background of modern life. As we close the book on this particular chapter of digital history, the reverberations continue. It's easy to see the polished surface, the immense success, the cultural ubiquity, the undeniable convenience it brought into millions of lives. But beneath that, the deeper lessons linger. This brand's journey is a powerful case study in the double-edged sword of innovation, how revolutionary products can simultaneously empower and constrain, liberate and control. Its legacy isn't just in the devices or the software, but in the fundamental shift it engineered in how we perceive and interact with digital content. The white earbuds are gone for many, the click wheel a nostalgic memory, but the paradigm it solidified, of centralized platforms dictating access and experience, remains. It teaches us that even the most beloved brands operate within complex systems of power and influence. The true takeaway isn't just what this brand was, but how it shaped our expectations, both positive and negative, for the digital future that followed. Its story is a potent reminder that progress isn't always linear or purely beneficial, and that the ghost in the machine often wears a neatly designed interface. And maybe, just maybe, the soul of a brand is never in its product, but in the people, stories, and stumbles that shape it.